Molly's signal. Remember when Harry was lost at King's Cross? Molly Weasley loudly asked the platform number, a detail she almost certainly knew, allowing Harry to safely follow the family to the barrier. This theory suggests her loud question was a deliberate, gentle signal establishing her protective care for the lost first year right from the start. Lily's cat Hermione's half-Kneazle was unwanted and had been at the magical menagerie for ages. This theory proposes he was the Potter's original cat, mentioned in Lily's letter to Sirius. His immediate recognition and hatred of Peter Pettigrew's animagus form suggests an unusual awareness, making him one of Harry's last living connections to his parents. James's gift. When we meet Professor Lupin, his battered case is noted to already bear the worn label, Professor R.J. Lupin, an odd detail for a new hire. The theory holds that his loyal friend, James Potter, gifted the case years earlier, stamping it with the profession Lupin dreamed of, but couldn't get due to his werewolf status. It's a beautiful symbol of faith and hope fulfilled. Moody's warning when Moody, actually Barty Crouch Jr., shows Harry the Order of the Phoenix photo, detailing the horrific fates of its smiling members, the theory suggests it wasn't casual. The hardened veteran was deliberately shocking Harry with the reality of war and its casualties, tempering the young wizard's eagerness with a sobering lesson on the cost of fighting Voldemort. Centaur trauma. Umbridge's unyielding ugliness, fueled by centaur trauma. While her cruelty was inherent, this theory claims her traumatic capture by the centaurs in the Forbidden Forest escalated her malice, especially toward Muggleborns like Hermione, who tricked her. Her later extreme zeal as head of the Muggleborn Registration Commission becomes a personal vendetta, born from humiliation and festering hatred. Grandparents murdered. Harry's grandparents were murdered. James and Lily died at a young age, and yet Harry had no grandparents, despite wizards often living long lives. The timing suggests Lily's Muggle parents, and potentially James's parents, were deliberately eliminated by Death Eaters before Voldemort moved on to the Potters. Petunia Dursley's line in a deleted scene, "You think I don't know what they're capable of?" lends credence to the idea that her parents were victims of the war, quietly erased. Ginny's potion. The sudden, overwhelming nature of Harry's attraction to Ginny in Half-Blood Prince is the basis for this dark theory. Given the Weasleys' familiarity with Amortentia, Molly used them, Fred and George sold them. Ginny may have used the powerful love potion to finally win Harry's affection, suggesting their entire future was rooted in magical manipulation rather than genuine love. Sirius's sacrifice. As chief warlock of the Wizengamot and a skilled legilimens, Dumbledore had the power and knowledge to prove Sirius innocent. This theory suggests he chose not to, because clearing Sirius would have meant sending Harry to live with his godfather, removing him from the protection of Lily's blood magic anchored at Privet Drive. He sacrificed Sirius's freedom for Harry's safety. Fetal Voldemort. The rudimentary, grotesque, baby-like form Voldemort takes in Goblet of Fire is explained as a fetus taken from the murdered Ministry employee, Bertha Jorkins, and animated by the Dark Lord. It's a disturbing interpretation that aligns with J.K. Rowling's hint that the first draft of this scene made her editor sick. Harry's coma. Harry's imagination. This theory argues that the entire wizarding world, from Hogwarts to the battles with Voldemort, is merely an elaborate coping fantasy. The abuse Harry suffered under the Dursleys was real, and his magical journey is an epic daydream, a psychological escape created by a neglected child. The happy ending simply becomes the continuation of a beautiful, yet ultimately fictional shield against a life of trauma. These theories prove the magic is alive, even when the answers are unsettling. Whether you prefer the warmth of motherly Molly or the bleak reality of the coma theory, the depth of this fandom shows the true power of J.K. Rowling's creation. Non-magical beginnings. Hermione Jean Granger was born on September 19, 1979, the child of two Muggle, non-magical dental practitioners in England. Despite a childhood spent in the mundane world, she quickly distinguished herself through sheer intellect and an insatiable curiosity. She devoured literature, consistently topped her academic classes, and possessed a remarkable memory that deeply impressed her elementary school educators. Peculiar incidents frequently transpired around her, like household items moving spontaneously, events that signaled her inherent magical gift. At Hogwarts, a magical ledger and quill automatically register every child who manifests signs of magical aptitude. When Hermione's designation appeared, the school was compelled to make contact. Given her parents were non-magic folk, a faculty member, most probably Professor McGonagall, paid a visit to their residence to clarify everything: the existence of the wizarding world, the function of Hogwarts, and the essence of being a witch. Soon after, Hermione ventured to Diagon Alley, secured her personal wand at Ollivander's, and filled her satchel with far more textbooks than the required list called for. Even prior to boarding the express train, she was diligently preparing to become the top student in her cohort. D.A. War and Aftermath. Aboard the Hogwarts Express, Hermione interrupted Harry and Ron's compartment while actively aiding Neville in his search for his misplaced amphibian pet. She had already attempted several incantations and immediately showcased the depth of her preparatory study. Self-assured and precise, she made an instantaneous impact, though it wasn't always a cordial one. During the sorting ceremony, the enchanted hat gave serious consideration to Ravenclaw. The house celebrated for wisdom, given her unparalleled thirst for knowledge. Yet, it also perceived her fierce resolve and bravery. Ultimately, those qualities outweighed all others, placing her into Gryffindor. From the commencement of instruction, she proved herself the premier scholar, perpetually eager to provide answers. Due to her rigid adherence to regulations and house points, she often found herself at odds with Harry and Ron, a friction that only dissolved when a shared danger compelled them to unify. The chamber, the time turner, and the Yule Ball. Following a cruel, sarcastic remark from Ron, Hermione sought refuge in the girls' restroom, and consequently missed the Halloween announcement concerning a mountain troll. Recognizing her peril, Harry and Ron hastily sought her out. The three managed to subdue the brute. Ron's impromptu spell caused its club to strike its own skull, and Hermione accepted the blame to shield her newfound companions. That self-sacrificing untruth solidified the trio's unbreakable alliance. From that juncture, Hermione assumed the mantle of strategist and caution. She studied unremittingly, assisted with schoolwork, and insisted upon adherence to the rules, right up until violating them was necessary to preserve Harry's life. During his inaugural Quidditch match, she mistakenly believed Snape was jinxing Harry's broomstick and set the professor's vestments ablaze, inadvertently disrupting the actual jinx. A surge of curiosity drew the friends to the forbidden third-floor corridor. When Hagrid inadvertently mentioned the name Nicholas Flamel, Hermione recalled a reference from a tome she'd checked out, and the enigma was solved. The Philosopher's Stone was concealed within the castle. When they eventually descended, Hermione was indispensable. She conjured fire, recognized the logic puzzle, and ultimately sacrificed her chance to continue, going back to help Ron while sending Harry forward. This confirmed her as the group's essential intellect. The Troll and the Sorcerer's Stone. Before the second academic year, Hermione encountered Gilderoy Lockhart and was instantly smitten, an adoration that faded upon their arrival at Hogwarts. During an intense Quidditch skirmish, Draco leveled the insult Mudblood at her, a degrading epithet for Muggle-born witches and wizards. The slight served as a stark, painful reminder of pure blood bigotry. In class, she inquired about the Chamber of Secrets myth and continued her investigation as the attacks commenced. Her inquiry led to the complex brewing of Polyjuice Potion. She eventually pieced together that the creature responsible was a basilisk traversing the school's pipework. Found petrified near the library, a ripped page in her hand proved she had solved the puzzle. In the third year, Professor McGonagall quietly entrusted her with a time turner to manage her impossible course load. Later, she accurately deduced the truth about Professor Lupin's lycanthropy. Upon Dumbledore's oblique guidance, Hermione and Harry utilized the device to travel back in time, successfully liberating Buckbeak and rescuing Sirius Black. The fourth year featured the Triwizard Tournament. Horrified by the maltreatment of house elves, Hermione initiated SPEW, a campaign championing their rights. At the Yule Ball, she appeared breathtakingly transformed, escorted by the Durmstrang champion, Victor Krum. This event deeply affected Ron, whose jealousy caused a painful rift. During the tournament, she coached Harry on the summoning charm and exposed Rita Skeeter as an unregistered animagus beetle, silencing the gossip columnist for a year. Arrival at the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. In the fifth year, with Voldemort's return denied by the Ministry, Hermione became the driving force behind Dumbledore's army, a clandestine group where Harry taught practical defense against the dark arts. She employed protective jinxes and enchanted coins to safeguard the group. When Marietta Edgecombe betrayed them, Hermione's curse branded the word SNEAK onto her face. At the Department of Mysteries, she displayed formidable dueling skill before being gravely wounded by Dolohov. The sixth year saw her elevated to Gryffindor prefect. Her growing affections for Ron intensified. After Ron began publicly dating Lavender Brown, Hermione's jealousy erupted, culminating in her casting a flock of canaries to attack him. She was, however, the first person at his side when he was poisoned. Before embarking on the Horcrux hunt, Hermione executed the most difficult decision of her young life. She modified her parents' memories and safely relocated them to Australia. On the run, she proved her invaluable worth, utilizing her enchanted beaded bag for supplies and recovering the locket Horcrux. Captured by Snatchers, she endured horrific torture under Bellatrix Lestrange at Malfoy Manor, who cruelly carved mudblood into her arm. Returning for the Battle of Hogwarts, as the castle became a battlefield, she dueled Death Eaters and eventually helped Ginny and Luna hold off Bellatrix. She entered the Ministry of Magic, working to dismantle anti-Muggle-born legislation and push for reform. She and Ron married, raising 2 children. The girl who once sought validation through books matured into Minister for Magic, a courageous and steadfast leader.